What's left of the cosmic rebuild? How do we collectively rebuild from the ruin of many outdated systems, our own included? Astrologically, June encourages us all to journey beyond the collapse of consciousness towards the inner alchemy of our own sovereignty by accepting a more sacred reconstruction of the self for the foundational focus within any dreams that remain. Whilst these cosmic forces align to invite deep healing and rebirth, we are being called to reclaim ourselves as the creators of a new reality, both individually, shaped by our own inner clarity, emotional resilience, intuition, connection, and expansive hearts, and together through the shared transformational experience that is life. I've moved on, surrendered. I find myself surrounded by emotional tides, tower-like vibrations, as I try to establish roots in what remains. Not the bungalow I've relocated to near the ocean, half an hour walk from Porchester Wreck, alongside the fort turned castle come prison that resides on the outskirts of it all, or the increasing awareness of a hidden wisdom rising within me regarding the feminine, the waters of life, the ebb and flow of emotional creativity, but the necessary need to ground into an energy I'd long forgotten. One that has always been there throughout it all. The devastation, the loss, the heartbreak. Me, beyond what I offer, the clarity I seek around this now, to the focus of intention required to rebuild something different, yet ironically familiar. Myself, before the roles, assumptions, restrictions, the physical reconstruction now necessary as I embrace the deeper essence of change. With awareness of patterns, cycles even, that have got me to this point, the direction and definition required within the rubble of the reality I find myself part of, simply by acknowledging where I am. Residing at number 16, having moved on from our 8 vibration home, I have doubled my frequency. I have grown. I am larger, on many levels, from higher self-connection to body weight. And now, in this expansion, with the aid of the tower and chariot archetypes that provide me a home, I am to experience what it means to really shift with the changes that have occurred. By seeing them truly, allowing them to be, rebuilding without my own assumptions or narratives, through integration, alignment, and sitting at times uncomfortably in uncertainty for the only knowing there is. As I focus on all that has ever been needed, regardless of my plans, hopes, dreams even, my part to play in the game of my own soul's journey. A greater connection to myself. Meaning I must accept continually that it all starts with me, my ability to create with what I've been given. Take on the responsibility of this cosmic collaboration. Let go of the demands of others, karmically carry my own accountability. Spirituality for the humanitarian potential it has always been. Something we're all being encouraged to embrace this week through the astrological influences, not only of the upcoming full moon in Sagittarius, but Jupiter moving into Cancer for the next 12 months, bringing forth a powerful emotional renewal through ancestral healing, soul contracts, and inner expansion. Once we are through the Cazimi of the 24th, that is. Aligning with the sun and new moon in Cancer, reminding us that the only finger pointing that needs to occur resides from within, not counting the digit of Yod formed in the sky with Pluto and Mars squaring Saturn and Neptune on the same day. If we are to confront any deep psychological blocks and use them as a form of manifestation rather than soul slavery. Throughout the month, we will all face possibilities to break free from perfectionism and control, but this will demand we look for its reflection. setting clear emotional boundaries with ourselves first and foremost, as the capacity builders of our own awareness they have always been, not the restrictive self-avoiding strategies so often seen in the collective bypassing pandemic currently evident. Only then can we hope to shift any fear-based patterns and reclaim the joy, inner peace, and intuition this full moon holds at its core. In doing so, we can expect many dreams to crystalline, increasing our thoughts and hearts in the process, provided we can ask the questions we may have been avoiding, clear any doubt around what we don't know, and seek advice in the sharing of ideas and motivation. Although leaving Gemini, we are reminded this transition for Jupiter is an ongoing rewiring of how things were. To build something different, it is going to take time and a new approach to how we create. Meaning focus, organization, and direction of details may actually be the thought process that can now ground what is set to be an emotional transformation of our own spiritual understanding. Now is the time to maintain balance as much as possible, acknowledging that any failures are merely an opportunity to find another way. As we allow from here outdated responsibilities to shift and ideas to take hold by remaining steadfast, not in them as such, but ourselves as their creator. Despite the urgency to run and fight for many, in determining the challenges we are really resisting internally, we can hold space for the devastating impact of these obstacles on anything we once considered real. From relationships to educational, hierarchical, particularly royal, and religious establishments. The next 6 months are set to bring forth a crumbling of anything that opposes greater change. We will be included in this. Thankfully, with Mercury and Venus deeply united during this time, we can hope for heart-led discussions around our desires, particularly those that seek strengthening, meaningful unions with comfort and encouragement. As long as we invest in what really matters, ourselves, finding, or better yet, becoming the pleasure of the present without rushing forth to change it, witnessing its place within the clear vision of the future we wish to construct from the remains of what, for many, have been an enduring few decades. So does that mean that we have arrived? Of course not. There is no destination in the structure that is life. It is constantly moving, and in this awareness and acceptance, alongside Venus entering Taurus on the 6-6 portal, we have the potential to reunite with the kindness, love, and beauty of this existence, rather than seek the change externally, simply by becoming it, bringing what we seek from within into every moment, the many steps of the one path. Here we can expect to be reminded what it really means to be home in our own presence, as we collectively see this lack of safe, sacred space being played out in the external. Despite or perhaps because of the interaction of so many influences, both in the sky and online this full moon, will ask us for leaps from our comfort zone. With Mars in Leo, many will find themselves disillusioned enough, not only with their own trajectory, but the stifling by others, to counteract this in their offerings, restoring harmony. Meaning, from the 17th, as this fire planet of war transitions into Virgo, by August we can expect to see practical progress in holistic well-being and spirituality, as health takes the center stage on all levels, starting, of course, with our own, if we are to avoid blame and shame reflective conflict. By the end of the month, with the help from a few astrological miracles, namely the luckiest day of the 24th, we will have been guided, nudged, pushed even, into the cosmic corner of our consciousness, coming face to face with dreams and hopes that may have been dismantled, ready to rise again, encouraging us to embrace authentically who has shown up for them, ourselves included, and with integrity redefine our mission by ensuring emotional connection over hustle, if we are to receive the more nurturing feminine now wishing to be born within us all. As the Sun in Gemini opposes the Moon in Sagittarius, there will of course be friction between the higher and lower mind, a necessary transformation of logical intuition, if we are to think more broadly, bringing up a desire or quest even for meaning, purpose, and ideas that expand, not only in the intangible future, but here and now, that demands clear communication, attitude, and a sense of adventure in how we see, well, our vision. Can it go the distance? Be it relationships, work, beliefs, community, or has we, become too short-sighted? Occurring in the third decan, a spiritually reckless zone of madness and miracles, illusions and sacredness, clarity can only be gained by those willing to walk through any confusion, to seek beyond the obvious, within what is set to form a labyrinth of dualities, in the emotional wisdom of heart-led, rather than haunted, idealistic prophecies. On the shadow side, we are being reminded to observe scapegoating and psychic paralysis, especially by those in the public or influential domain, and delve deeper into our own psyche for the humanitarian acts now required of us all, if we are to succumb to the insatiable hunger now being felt, that cannot be repressed with external worth, no matter how exhaustingly determined we may try to convince ourselves. We must admit humbly when to strive and when to surrender in a time with no clear path, merely shifting sands, because it is the returned faith we have lost in ourselves that, with the support of Mars squaring the moon's nose, will ultimately solve any karmic riddles or support the emotional crossroads we collectively find ourselves part of. This is a predestined tipping point, meaning mental confusion is likely, particularly regarding identity and belief systems. But what breaks the mind may just open the soul, especially with Jupiter squaring Saturn, making the notion of ideal versus reality the only way now to grow up without giving in. Rather than reckon with authorities and institutions, it is our own spirituality that needs to be more grounded through the integrity and discernment of everyday application, as we build upon solid soul-based structures rather than castles in the sky that will only continue to crumble into 2026. This strawberry full moon isn't about throwing away the truth with the teacher, but relearning how to pick your own fruits based on the labours you have been initiated into, reminding us through it all to hold on to the wonder of a shared vision, be it our higher selves, those that get us, or the sacred realism formed from Saturn conjunct Neptune in Aries. And in doing so, releasing any fantasy-based external gurus and outnumbered archetypal complexes. Of course, if we are to collapse these fake narratives, we must take the change Neptune dreams of, and with the help of Father Time Saturn, make a long-term plan. Not in our everyday actions per se, but the emotional energy behind them. Observing pious purity for the procrastination it has always been, as we from here begin to build rather than just imagine our own potential. Linked to the Ten of Wands in the Tarot, it is the burdens we have carried for others that now must be relieved, not relived. The taking on too much, over expectations of responsibilities, unappreciation, and imbalanced reciprocity, in order to reclaim our dignity and truth, reconnect to a deeper lineage and intuitive strength, we must assemble a more aligned inner sovereignty in a world that continues to doubt this worth. It is in this spiritual resistance and psychic stamina we will find the healing or breakthroughs now yearned for by the seeker or mythic within us all, supporting us to be on the lookout for projection, false events appearing real, and blame games by weighing the disillusionment and burnout of idealism against hard truths. We can avoid the temptation to escape, particularly come the weekend, and instead acknowledge when something is enough by exploring the edge of our own reason in. Identifying any overburdened empathy, martyrdom, and the impact this has had, not only on our own ability to create something different, but to see it now as a way forward. By allowing the soul to speak, not in logic, but silent knowing of its own wild and wondrous wisdom, we, at the very bottom of it all, beneath the rubble of realities now collapsing, may just find the love that originally fabricated it all. Only then Can we decide if we, are currently enough to shape something sustainable? Occurring on the 11th of June at 7:44 in the UK, the upcoming full moon provides the numerical frequencies of the High Priestess, Empress, Emperor, Lovers, Chariot, Strength, Hermit, Justice, Star, and Hierophant overall, inviting us all to balance our intuitive insights as the ultimate choice now available, by going within and listening to the dreams that have always been dependent on our own perspective, accepting this for the focus and direction available. In this witnessing of our own divinity, we can end any actions that may have destroyed the hope we have been striving towards, finally receiving the lesson behind them all, the teacher of their wisdom, the compassion and forgiveness of truly seeing ourselves for the creator of our own potential. May we all rebuild the dreams that have fallen with the strength and determination of the love they once inspired from within us. In deepest munay, I ask you now, what way is left if it's not right? You know where I am. Take care. Kirsty.